In honor mode, some of the bosses in the game now have legendary actions. And the first one you might come across is actually the Owlbear. So before we get into the combat, you can examine the enemy, in this case the Owlbear, and we can look at their legendary action. Each boss can use them once per round. In this case, the Owlbear can spend a legendary action to summon her mate when she is attacked. I've never seen her summon two mates, more than one extra Owlbear. I'm not going to give you a full playthrough of every boss with a legendary action because that would probably be a bit too long. So I will be cutting through to different parts of the fights and giving you general tips on how we can either avoid the legendary actions or minimize them. For this Owlbear, the only way we can avoid it is actually to kill the Owlbear in the first round before she gets a turn. I'm not sure I can do that. I'm only level 3. There we are, level 3 fighter. The first time I ever did this fight, I think I was level 4 at least. I came back later when I was a bit stronger. Now, before I go running in, I'm going to try and prepare. So I'm early in the game. I don't have many consumables, but we should be using them. So Lae'zel's going to be running up. She's only got a great sword. I didn't manage to get the Everburn blade. The command drop didn't work. I wasn't able to disarm Commander Zulk. Oh well, I found a normal great sword at least. So I'm going to give her the elixir of Heal Giant Strength. This here is a swords bard. We're going to be using, where's it gone? Slashing Flourish ranged. So what I'm going to give him is actually Elixir of the Colossus, because this will give an extra 1d4 damage on every weapon attack. So let's give him that. And I will be trying to remember to use Drow Poison or any other poison if I can. As for Gale and Shadowheart, there aren't very many useful elixirs for them, but I can at least use the Greater Elixir of Arcane Cultivation, so an extra level 2 spell slot. I'm going to give that to Shadowheart. She's already used the level 2 spell slot with Aid, and in fact her level 2 spell Spiritual Weapon will be a bit more useful. Only elixirs I've got left are Fire Resistance and Bark Skin, which will do nothing for Gales. Now you might actually have persuaded some cultists of the Absolute to come and help you. I'm trying to show you what you can do if you've gotten to the situation where you don't have them with you. Now this is honor mode. I think that's a bit of a misnomer, really, because if you know you're going to fight the Owlbear, there's no reason to start this fairly. What I could do now is attack the Owlbear while she is surprised, and that would be very much in my favor, I think. Lae'zel is an Eldritch Knight, and I decided to take Fine Familiar with her, which has also had Aid cast on it. I'm going to try and do this fairly. I'm just going to attack. There we are, legendary action, Cool Consort. So when she's attacked, she will summon her mate to defend her. First thing I would suggest for this fight is actually try and get the Owlbear to not do anything. Now Grovel can be very useful because if it's prone, it makes any melee attacker have advantage on their attacks. So I'm actually going to try that one. It's only a 55% chance, but you never know. Gale is an enchantment wizard, so he's got Hypnotic Gaze. Your characters are potentially going to be very different. And I'm not saying you have to follow these exact builds. Shadowheart is still just a Trickery Domain Cleric at this point. Alright, let's start off with some damage. This should cool out the... Ooh, knocked prone. That's actually very useful. One thing to note about enemies who are prone, they don't get a vision cone. May as well have some basic poison. Simple poison. And I'm going to go with Pommel Strike. The reason for that was to try and give them the Daze condition, which would give them disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. And really, you want to take out the Owlbear in a single turn if you can, but I'm not saying it's always going to be possible. I've got a short bow that gives the Bard Hunter's Mark. Slashing ranged flourish can be twice against the same target. We should really spread out also, because the Owlbear can do the leaping attack. And again, I'm going for the Maul because I want to try and use Concussive Smash. I could probably save that until next time because it's already failed a wisdom saving throw. Oh, that's the reason we've got the Raven. Acts as another target. There we are, Cool Consort. And then there's an Owlbear up top. Continue to attack the first Owlbear. Take out one dangerous enemy at a time. I generally ignore the Owlbear Cub. It's not that dangerous compared to the other two Owlbears we've got present. In honor mode against bosses, it's not a time to hold back on using spell slots. So once again, I'm going to go with Ice Knife. Critical miss. I'm just going to suffer through an opportunity attack from the Owlbear Cub. Basically think it's worth it. Alright, 20 experience for that. I think that's a bit unfair. But the point here now is I've only got another single Owlbear to deal with. Same tactics apply. Spread out as best you can. Focus on one enemy at a time. There we are. Ooh, over to Shadowheart. So we've just got to lay into the Owlbear mate now. As best we can. I'm going to try and use Drow Poison now. There we are. Just going to go in. All out damage. Slashing Flourish. Which does let us set up a critical hit. Going to use a level 2 Guiding Bolt, knowing this is going to be a critical hit. There we are. Yeah, to make sure that this works, I say make sure. This is the best chance I have. Yeah, 1 hit point left. Brilliant. Let's get our revenge. And that's the Owlbear. Now we're at the Spider Matriarch. So we can see her. Her legendary action is Gossamer Tomb. Once per round, again this is for all legendary actions, once per round, if her offspring is attacked, the phase Spider Matriarch can spend a legendary action to use Gossamer Tomb. So what is this? Entomb a creature that attacks your offspring with an infested, we'll get to infested, globe of web. Unless it's removed by fire or acid damage, this glob of web will eventually explode, dealing 8d10 poison damage to the entombed creature. If you're infested, you take some damage, poison and piercing, 1d4 of each, and it's removed by fire or acid. The worst part of Gossamer Tomb, though, is actually the fact it incapacitates you, which takes you out of the turn order. And if you don't do anything about it, then you'll take a huge amount of poison damage. Again, I'm going to prepare. So I'm actually at level 5. Again, I'm going to look through what elixirs I have. Now, Lae'zel's strength is 18. Taking an elixir of Hill Giant strength only gives her +1 bonus to attack and damage. That is useful, but instead, I'm going to take an elixir of heroism, mostly because it keeps her blessed. A few extra temporary hit points won't go amiss either. Savangath, I think once again, is going to take an elixir of the Colossus. He can get out 2 attacks with his slashing flourish. Shadowheart and Gale, I'm going to go defensively with them. They're going to take elixirs of poison resistance because there's a lot of poison damage potentially coming our way. Shadowheart is now a druid of the sports. She isn't a cleric anymore, but I do have 2 scrolls of aid. So I think it would be silly not to use one of them. Since this legendary action is linked to her offspring, and this is advice even for outside honor mode, let's get rid of the offspring first. There we are. It'll be a bit more difficult to reach the ones over there. There's another clutch batch down here. The general tactic here of getting her on a web and destroying the web still works very, very well. As with the last fight, splitting up is a good idea because there is an AoE attack that the Spider Matriarch can unleash. Now, these phase spiders don't have very many hit points. I would say it's not a bad idea to get rid of them first, because they can do an annoying amount of damage. So, 1 down. Going to see if Savangath can get rid of the phase spider. I'm not sure about the range, because I've got hand crossbows now. If these hit, it should kill it. I don't need that. I hope not, anyway. Perfect. 31 damage done. So that was the Gossamer Tomb, and it's a dexterity saving throw, and I just happened to roll quite well. Does mean she can't use that again this turn. We'll deal with these little spiders soon when they come over. I've got plenty of AoEs. She generally does this. I think it's very silly of her to do that, but that's her choice. So she's standing on the web. Destroy the web if you can. It's vulnerable to fire damage. We can see here, all acid damage. It's going to charge in. May as well use Pommel Strike. Dazed, awesome. Also can reduce their armor class. Dazed is such a good condition. There's 2 things. 1, disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. Brilliant. Oh, sorry, 3 things. Can't take reactions. Loses dexterity bonus to the armor class. Now here, her dexterity is 20, so her armor class has come down by 5. So going to use everything at my disposal to get rid of her in as few turns as possible. Now, I say that, I actually want to show you Gossamer Tomb, so I'm not going to outright kill her right now. Shadowheart, can you get Gossamer Tombed? There we are, she's infested. Turn order gone. Oh, not turn order gone, she's out of the turn order, so I need to try and get rid of that. It's quite disconcerting. So as it says, since we're infested, we want to use fire or acid damage. Do it however you can. I'm going to use an acid vial. She saved against it. We've got to keep going. Unless we can... So we'll try that. There we are. And she's out of it. So if Gale attacks some of the spiderlings, he won't have Gossamer Tomb against him because the legendary action is once per turn. Ooh, 55%. Yeah, why not? And there we have it. Level 5 might have been a bit overkill for the Spider Matriarch, but I do not think it's overkill for the Hag. So I've come down to the Hag, Auntie Ethel, and I'm not exactly in the best situation. I've only got one spell slot left on my Eldritch Knight, Lae'zel. My Bard's only got a few spell slots left. Shadowheart's almost out. Gale's only got a few left as well. And I don't have any short rests left, and I can't easily go back. I've jumped down past all of these, and I didn't even kill the masks upstairs. Lae'zel already has an elixir of poison resistance. I think at this point I probably should just take an elixir of Hill Giant Strength. I might want the extra jump distance even. The poison resistance isn't so bad because Auntie Ethel does sometimes, and her clones sometimes, use Ray of Sickness. Tavangath, I actually just want you to hit. So he's going to take the elixir of Heroism. Shadowheart, what could we do for you? Either poison resistance or an extra level 2 spell slot. I probably should have taken those at the beginning of the day, but never mind. Maybe this time elixir of vigilance to make sure we go nice and early and that we can't be surprised. I've switched to Hammercraft, and the reason for this is actually to take out her clones more easily anyway. So before we go in, let's go. And since we're a druid, and this is a ritual spell, regenerate the symbiotic entity. So we're just going to jump straight in there. There we are. So this is a, I'm not exactly in the best situation. So here, I want to point out, one, we should actually get rid of these minions first, the masks first, because they can cause so many problems. Secondly, let's have a look at her legendary action. Once per round, Auntie Ethel can spend a legendary action to summon more illusory duplicates and shuffle herself among them after a spell is cast. A higher level spell will result in more duplicates being summoned. So the trick here is, well, one, you could just not cast any spells, I suppose, so she wouldn't get a chance to use it. But if you are going to cast spells, make sure the first one you cast in the turn is a cantrip, so as few duplicates get created as possible. And I just need to get rid of these as quickly as possible. The Mask of Vengeance will retaliate in melee range, so use ranged attacks against her. I'm going to start with Moonbeam. So thankfully she only created a few different duplicates, not too many. To get rid of a duplicate, you need to do any damage to them. Now, using the turn order, I can tell you this is actually the Hag. I would get rid of the one that isn't the real Hag first, because she might get a turn and they're just as dangerous. Hopefully, you stocked up on some consumables from the Nautiloid, or have got them from Ammelium. So throw this down. And gone. 70% chance to hit. Let's try Backbreaker. Think you're going to use something like Action Surge in a fight. Use it either when you're about to kill someone in that turn, or just go out all out on the first turn to try and make sure the enemy doesn't get a turn. There we are. Don't have to worry about that mask. Oh, so close. So she gets her legendary action back now. We've got Crag Spiders to deal with, Auntie Ethel to deal with. So that looks like the real one. So one good thing about Slashing Flourish. And you need to get rid of these as quickly as possible, to be honest. Right, look at all these here. So this is where Hammercraft comes in useful, because I can jump to here and hopefully get rid of 2 of them. There we are. Alright, let's throw out a cantrip now. Ideally, I'll get rid of the Mask of Vengeance. This might be a... Ugh, this is a bit risky. Because of that. Ugh. Oof. Right. Oh, wait. I didn't realise she could do it more than once. That's what I would call a mistake. On her turn, she'll die from the Moonbeam. All right, to get rid of the spiders, we are going to use a consumable. Just there should do. All right, you can jump to here. We know we've got rid of her. And now, this is almost ideal, right? So we need a cantrip. Want as few duplicates around as possible. We'll get Gale to do that. And so then only a single duplicate comes out. This is the real one. That's the fake one. Again, I'm hoping you've got... No, Alchemist Fire is fine as well. We can save my arena by throwing some water.
All right.
Well, it was always worth a shot.
Thank the gods.
Oh, that was lucky. I think it's because she was ensnared, she took damage. I'm just going to check if Moonbeam counts as a spell. I think it might. No, it doesn't. Good. Right. Concussive Smash. Yes, please. Oof. Unlucky. Let's try again. Let's go for the kill. Ensnared. Disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. Right, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen here. Oh, 0. Oh, 25. Right.
What should I do?
She might die on her turn because of Ensnared. Moonbeam. Yeah.
You bastard! You ruined it!
So make sure you have some consumables to throw, or maybe have Hammerhearth to do guaranteed damage. The next boss we'll be looking at is Bernard at the top of the Arcane Tower. I've already taken elixirs of lightning resistance because there's a lot of that about to come up. Blazel once again has got an elixir of Hill Giant Strength. I do also have with me a Sousa Flower just to show you what we can do. Now for spells, I do find slow is very effective up here because the enemies are pretty bad at saving against it, but we can't use something like Hold Person because they're not humanoid. Probably don't need counter spell actually. Maybe Cloud of Daggers. All right, I'm just going to go up there and start the battle. Okay, he goes first. So Bernard's legendary action is Leaping Static. Once per round, Bernard can spend his action to launch Leaping Static. Strike an enemy with lightning. 3 more bolts, so it's 3d8 lightning damage. 3 more bolts will leap from the target, electrifying as many as 3 other characters within 20 feet. It doesn't say enemies, it doesn't say just like our party members. So what you can do is maybe come over here, get someone to come over here and attack him. Right, I'm going to use a potion of speed. This is to increase his armor class more than anything else. There we are. Again, slashing flourish. Hopefully one of these hits. Hopefully one of these hits. That's frustrating. Let's show you the use of the Scissor Bloom at least. So you place it next to one of these. There we are. Animated armors, and now they're incapacitated. We can ignore that one. I would say go for Bernard while he doesn't have his electric field up. I've forgotten what it's called. The static discharger aura up. I know what, this is a bit silly, but I really hope one of these can hit. I feel like he's laughing at me. So, what I wanted to have done at first was actually just have the Bard get hit, and then the lightning goes to these two. And that's one of the reasons for taking the elixir of lightning resistance. There we are. We can go for all of them. Oh, no, I can't see that one. Fine. Doesn't matter. Got all of them. Wasn't guaranteed. And I'm going to get out of there. I don't want to lose concentration. At this point, I would get rid of as many of these animated armors as quickly as possible. There we are. We should spread out his aura. Static aura can get quite a lot of us in one go. So now they only get 1 attack each. Go very slowly. Armor class is lowered by 2, except for the one up there. See, he gets 2 attacks because he isn't slowed. Now this aura is in Tactician and below anyway. This isn't specific for honor mode. So all constructs near Bernard deal extra damage. All others take damage. If you can survive this for 2 turns, he becomes stunned. Thankfully, because they are slow, they can't take reactions either. So we can just pretty much just run out of the aura without fear of opportunity attacks. There's the Leaping Static. 2 damage. It's not that bad. I did take an elixir of lightning resistance, remember? Saving throw to try and resist it. which I passed. If I'd stood nearer to this animated armor, it would have taken damage as well. Okay, we're going to try and get rid of the animated armors if we can. And 2. Going to get the high grounds. From here, it's a fairly simple fight. Pretty much just kill the armors and then Bernard. When Bernard gets stunned, I'll probably go after him instead. Heat metal. Is he resistant? He is, but whatever. So Bernard is now stunned. This is the turn to go and get him. Dropped his weapon, which is nice. Since he dropped his weapon, I will just pick it up. And now he's back. That helps get rid of that armor. Like Shadowheart, just slowly but surely grinding away at his health. Yeah, we can get rid of him. Goodbye. And that's basically the end of that. This one will stay incapacitated, and the other one is just going to die on the next turn or so. The next fight I will show you is against Nere, and I would really heavily suggest that you go speak to Brithvar, who normally hangs out just here. Convince him you're not a true soul. Oh, there he is. Brithvar here. And he says he will join your side against Nere if you get rid of the Scrying Eye. The safest place to do that, if the camera will let me go there, I don't think it will. The Scrying Eye goes all the way to the end of the corridor on the left here. I got rid of it over there where there's no one watching. The key to this fight is actually get rid of the Mind Masters, and I'll show you the legendary action as well. So, during this conversation, that's your cue, Brithvar. It's time you got paid.
Damn right, it's time.
Side with Brithvar and the rebels.
Heretics.
Good shots. Stand away from the lava, also, because that might happen to you. Obviously, you didn't get shoved in this time, but next time they might. I usually get rid of the Mind Masters first because they can potentially take over your character. Now they're all grouped up together. Madrid, I think Cool Lightning. We can get 2 of them, both of them Mind Masters. This is perfect. Oh, I didn't have my symbiotic entity ready. That was silly, very silly. Again, move away from the lava. It's just not worth standing nearby. Right, let's look at True Soul Nere's legendary action, Psionic Visage. Once per round, he can use the legendary action. Let's look at these. So he gets 3 copies of himself. As long as one of them remains, you are immune to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. When the caster is struck, a Psionic Visage will detonate, causing 2d6 psychic damage and push them back 10 feet. Stay away from the lava. But before we get to him, Mind Masters need to go down. I have got Hammerhraft here, so let's get a bit of free damage. It's not much, but it's something. One down. Let's have Great Weapon Master on, shall we? So I am currently level 6. Tiny bit higher than my last fight. One way to try and stop Nere, honestly, Hold Person, is so powerful, because then he can't do anything. Fireball's not going to work very well. Shatter should do 7 damage against him, right? Right? No is the answer to that. Instead of using one of my slashing flourishes, I'm going to stick up Cloud of Daggers. So I think, yes, there we are. Again, away from the lava. Bonus action. Let's stick him some Drown Poison. It's probably not going to be very effective. And I've just put it on the wrong weapon. Never mind. Oh, straight to the Cloud of Daggers. Thank you, Sergeant Thrin. So there's what can happen. My allies decided to show that off rather than me. So when he was hit, the illusory copies came up. When he was hit again, one of them exploded. And then you get knocked back. And it's centered on the person who hit True Soul Nere. It's still going from inside. Back to my turn. So, if I attack True Soul Nere, there'll be 1 more explosion. Now, I could maybe try and go near Sergeant Thrin, so the explosion knocks her into the Cloud of Daggers. Let's try that. One of these should hit. No, just knocked her back away from him. That seems rather unfair that he gets to put that up again. Oh well. Yeah, so what we're going to try and do is not be completely idiotic. He's held now, at least. Elixirs of Psychic Resistance wouldn't be such a bad idea here. There'll be 1 more attack. I'm just going to soak it up. So I can at least get 1 more attack in. That is a critical hit. And since we're a Spores Druid, Probably should have started with some of these.
Heretic. You should never have come here.
So yeah, easy kill. But yeah, his wisdom is kind of a bit low. Makes it very easy, relatively easy, to get these more controlling spells through. And so this will be the end. And he comes back as a zombie. Actually, that probably wasn't the best idea for the quest. Oh well. Next up is Grym. Now, if you want to, I would call it cheese, but if you want to cheese this, just use the Owlbear from Top Rope method. You can search it up. Maybe I'll put a link to a video in my description. Now, I am level 7, so I do have some level 4 spells. Being a druid and all, I do actually have my woodward and dryad here. I didn't bring down any zombies. It's a bit of a mistake. But what you really want is bludgeoning damage. If you're happy respecking, just respec probably 4 open hand monks will be fine. Tavern brawlers or maybe barbarians. Have no problem. Before the fight starts, I would heavily suggest you put up silence around where Grym comes out. You'll thank me later. Now, everyone's pretty much got elixirs of fire resistance, apart from Lae'zel, who once again has got an elixir of Hill Giant Strength. Before we start, we're going to oil up. +2 bonus to attack rolls, please. Thank you very much. I do have the Staff of Arcane Blessing here. I'm using Bless on the people who have got bludgeoning weapons, who can do bludgeoning damage. And I do have also Owlbear. Interestingly, I can still have a singing sword inside the silence. Anyway, and then Gale's going to start this off for us. So Grym comes out. It's all very scary. So Grym, his legendary action, Adamantine Reverberation. So when he's hit, he gets 10 temporary hit points and double movement speed. Losing these temporary hit points triggers a shockwave that knocks targets back 13 feet. I think there is a strength saving throw against that. And deals 4 to 30, 4d8 thunder damage. The reason for the silence is to completely negate that thunder damage. Now, he doesn't need to be... Oh, he does need to be standing nearby. Oops. With the sword singing, let's go for Backbreaker. Try and knock him prone. And he is prone, so he won't actually be able to now use his legendary action. Oops. Time to lay into him as much as possible. And in fact, Gale here. Make sure we can get 1 extra attack out. So he's half dead in the first round. I think in the next round I will let him use his legendary action. Nice. Woodward's gonna go in the... Yeah, I don't think we should do that. Oh, miss. He's still prone, so I'm just gonna skip my turn because he can't use his legendary action. Am I just going to skip my turn? I don't think I am. I'm going to get one. Lae'zel. Right, that was really stupid of me. Let's not melt. So he gets back up. Oh, wait, no, let's show the legendary action. Right. So he's just gained his temporary hit points, Adamantine Reverberation. And then if we get rid of these hit points, knocks people back. Would have done all of this thunder damage. So yeah, we do get it's a constitution saving throw. Sorry, I said strength earlier. A constitution saving throw against being knocked back. The DC is 21. That is really quite high. Lae'zel rolled a 20, but from the bless and the sword singing and a proficiency and a constitution modifier, she still would have had a +12. But now that he's done it once, you can just keep on going. And down he goes. A lot of these fights are about being prepared, and for this fight, having bludgeoning damage as much as possible and silence will help you a lot. And lastly, we have Chitrai Wargaz. This is in Kreshalek, the Inquisitor. I've read online this guy's ended many honor mode runs. So before we get into combat, we can actually have a look at him. He's got legendary resistance. +10 bonus to its next saving throw 3 times. Mind Claws, this is actually the legendary action, and this is a bit different because he can actually use this twice per round. All the others once per round, but twice per round he can spend a legendary action to summon a Mind Claw, which is a bit like a spiritual weapon, after he or his allies are struck. When the claw strikes, Wargaz may Mind Steal Link, basically really annoying debuff, a target that's not already affected by this condition. And these weapons have like 30 hit points and are resistant, I think, to damage. He's also got Githyanki Parry, extra attack, perfect sentry, can't be surprised. He's quite a tough boss. With this fight, with all of the summoning that goes on, you really have to focus down on him. As soon as he dies, the Mind Steal goes away, all of the summon claws go away, and then you've just got some pretty normal Githyanki to deal with. In terms of preparation, I have a single zombie. Sadly, I didn't actually prepare anymore. I have the Morning Lord's Radiance. This is because I went and got the Dawn Master Crest, and I've come here before taking a long rest. I've got my Elixir of Hill Giant Strength, but I don't think the others really have elixirs. So I'm going to take an Elixir of Vigilance on my Bard, try and get him going early. If there were more enemies around, I might use an Elixir of Bloodlust on a Spellcaster to get 2 spells out, but I don't think it's going to be that useful. I don't really think I need any of these other elixirs. I don't want to use up all my elixirs of vigilance. Just for the sake of it, I may as well use an elixir of Hill Giant Strength. Why would I do this on non-melee users? Well, I get extra jump distance, more likely to shove, that's about it. And I'm just going to start the fight. I could have hidden and maybe attacked and got surprised on some of them. And we get to go first, right. Now, the enemies are very spread out, so it's very hard to get any good AoE at the beginning. Maybe we can get it later. Let's at least try Header of Spores first. And there's no countdown on his legendary resistance. I'm trying to get rid of that, right. So whole person, 35% just isn't very good. So let's try a Wall of Fire. At least get 3 of them in there.
Better get to work.
Oh, that was so stupid of me. Right. Only a 65% chance to hit. I'm going to start off trying to use things like force saving throws. There's the first one, 30 hit points, but resistant to basically all damage. Let's see. Yeah, 35% for you as well. Maybe we can get some high ground. Yeah. Also some poison. Some sort of poison would be good. The trap poison would be very useful here, actually. Or at least potentially. I am going to use this. There's a second claw, but he's now quite very dead. So got a critical hit. That was a if you didn't know, that was a tadpole power Luck of the Far Realms. Once per long rest, when you hit, you can turn it into a critical hit. Since I'm now level 6, threatened, but... And why did he fall over? Because I've got Reverberation going. Here it is. When you inflict a condition, you deal 2 turns of Reverberation. And because I've got Burr of the Banshee, that's inflicting fear. And so now I should be able to kill him in 1 turn. This seems a bit unfair. Again, using Action Surge at the beginning, just get rid of whatever you can, and whoever you can, whenever you can. And then they're gone. That's probably the smoothest I've gone through that fight, to be honest. I'm not sure if I should go through that again and make it more difficult, but the point here is really focusing down on the boss means he didn't even get a chance to act. This is why the Elixir of Vigilance was very useful. The Alert feat would help you a lot, and the rest of this is now just not a problem. These Githyanki are not particularly hard. I say getting critical hits against me immediately. Even if the Chitrai had survived this turn, the next turn I'd still be only attacking him. Whole person is so strong. Critical hit. Go after the Ardent first because they actually get a turn in this round. Just cleared up. Let's look at this. The Elixir of Hill Giant Strength might actually come in useful. Make sure we can get here and do a decent amount of damage. Wargars. Let me know what other tips you've got for these fights. For these boss fights with the legendary actions. What I would say here is do not provoke Vlaakith. Several people have also mentioned online that their honor mode has finished during this conversation. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all the members of my channel, and hopefully I will catch you in the next one.